Before we move into the technical details and show how the checklist feature works in Workforce, it's important to pause for a moment and clarify what a checklist really is. A checklist is a core operational tool. It helps bring structure, ownership and purpose into everyday work, especially in fast-paced store environments. It also plays a key role in shift handover. The checklist creates a short check-in point, a moment to stop, review where we are, what has already been completed, and what still needs attention. This means shifts don't start with assumptions or confusion. Everyone has a clear view of priorities, responsibilities, and the current status of the work. Used well, checklists support continuity, reduce chaos, and help teams stay focused on what matters most during the shift. Workforce provides us with excellent tools that allow us to move checklists into the system and create new ones that genuinely support your operational work and day-to-day activities in the store. Checklists are completed and ticked off by authorized users directly in the system. As tasks are completed, results are immediately visible in Workforce. In the following slides, we will show how this process works in practice. Now let's look at how we use the checklist feature. All checklists replace paper reports and support a paperless way of working. We use the checklist feature in two ways. First, we have centrally created checklists. These are standard checklists used across all locations. Currently, two centrally created checklists are available: the Shop Walk checklist and the Daily Manager Operational checklist. These checklists help ensure consistency and clear standards across all stores. Secondly, we have store-level checklists. These are created by managers to support day-to-day store operations and local needs. Together, these checklists allow us to keep one consistent system while still giving managers flexibility at store level.
Before we move on to explaining who can see which checklists, who has access to them, and how this access can be managed in the future when we create our own lists, let's take a moment to look at one important concept first. That concept is teams in Workforce. Let's start by explaining what teams in Workforce are. Teams represent individual tasks, such as cashing up, or groups of tasks, such as deli, that are assigned to each role. They define the scope of duties and the level of operational responsibility within the system. On this slide, you can see our internal role structure across the stores. Each column represents a role, from stock assistant through to store manager, together with the teams assigned to that role. Management roles are assigned to all teams, while less senior roles have a reduced range of tasks and responsibilities. This reflects how responsibilities expand as roles become more senior. We will return to this structure during the rota building training to explain how it supports effective staffing and planning. It's important to remember that during onboarding, assigning the correct role and teams determines what a colleague can see and do in Workforce. This structure is also the foundation for checklist access. So with that in mind, let's move on and look at how this works in practice. On the previous slide, we explained what teams are and how they work. With that in mind, we can now move on to the next step and explain who can see checklists and how checklist access works. Checklist access in Workforce is team-based. This means that checklists are assigned to teams, not to individual people. As a result, only staff who are assigned to the relevant team can see and complete a checklist. Let's look at an example. The Shop Walk checklist is assigned to the Shop Walk team. This means it can be seen and completed by managers, assistant managers, shift supervisors, and senior sales assistants. The Manager Operational checklist is assigned to the manager team. In this case, only managers and assistant managers can see and complete this checklist. There are also a few important technical points to be aware of. Checklist access for staff is available only through the Workforce Employee app. Managers can also view checklists via the Workforce web app on a laptop or desktop computer. When it comes to settings, team access to a checklist is not fixed. Teams are assigned when a checklist is created, but they can be changed later if required. Assigned teams can be updated at any time, and I'll show you how to do this later on.
Now let's look at checklist completion and status step by step. First, open the mobile app on your Store tablet and access checklists via the quick links in the Overview or Pending sections. If more than one checklist is visible, make sure you select the correct checklist before you start. Go through the checklist item by item and tick each item once it has been checked. If you are interrupted, you can leave the checklist at any time. There is no need to save anything. The system saves automatically. If required, add a comment using the comment icon next to the item. Comments are mandatory for every item, regardless of whether the item is marked as completed. On the next slide, you will see a video demonstration. I will share my screen and show you step by step how all these functions work in the system.
I'm now logged into the Workforce app using Ania's account, as we have already started testing the checklist feature in Acton. In the app, checklists are available in two places: the Pending section and the Overview tab. No matter which one you open, you have exactly the same access and see the same information. I'll go to Pending now. This view shows all tasks scheduled for today. From here, let me open checklist. As you see, Ania has two shop walk checklists visible. This because she's assigned to two teams. One is linked to the market. We can see market here. And the second one is linked to her store, Acton. Here we also have today and previous tabs. We can use a calendar to select different date. For example, if we were not in a store yesterday, we can check how yesterday's shop walk looked and whether any tasks were left incomplete. These previous checklists are read-only and cannot be edited. Let's go to today's checklist. At the top, we can see some key information: the name of checklist, overall completion rate, status. We can also see when the last update was made. Yeah, here we've got this information. Now let's open a checklist and take a look at its structure. The checklist reflects the paper checklist you already use in store, but with additional digital features. You will see how brilliant it is. On the left hand side, you can see the tick boxes. When we tick an item, I need to untick them and then tick. When we tick the boxes, its status immediately changed to green, indicating the task has been completed. On the right hand side is a comment icons. If it's this icon is red, we have an example here, it means that the comment has been added to that checklist, for example, to provide additional information or explain the issue. Not on that example, we'll get back to this point. The structure allows manager to quickly see what has been completed, what still need attention, and where extra comments or notes has been added. For items marked as completed, adding comments is optional. For items, let me scroll if we have any. Stockroom, this section is not completed. So for items are not marked as completed, adding comment is mandatory. So we haven't got any comments here, so yeah, need to be added. This ensures that any outstanding issue is clearly explained. The checklist, let me get back to there you go. The checklist is standardized across all stores. This means that for any items that do not apply to your specific store, like we have a canopy here, for example, you should mark the task as completed, exactly like Anya did, and add comment NA, which means not applicable. One feature, let me scroll down, one feature, there's something new and there's an additional feature. I would like highlight this check. No, not that one. Not that one. Yeah, I would like highlight additional feature which this checklist includes. If you see view details, which mean under the checklist item in a section, this means that reference material are attached to that point. I have added all existing stock management document to this relevant let me view details and press view attached file, and you can see you can open training document. It allows you quickly check standards or refresh your knowledge, making the checklist very user friendly. At the bottom of the checklist, you can see additional feature that is currently in a testing phase. The temperature record, compliance and temperature record. In Acton, we have two pieces of equipment where the temperature is recorded manually. The freezer. So we have a freezer here and cake fridge. Yeah, perfect. So a cake fridge. For this section, I've also added additional information showing the legal additional information showing the legal limit and recommended best practice, so we can refer to for each of this equipment a minimum and maximum temperature have been defined. Any reading outside the allowed range is automatically flagged. At the moment you can see all the readings are within range. If we change, for example, this fridge this temperature to 10 and press save, if you can see thermometer change a color. It is now red, so we are flagged something is not right. In this situation, adding a comment is mandatory, and the comment must be clearly explain what action has been taken. So on that section you need to add your comment and action. And next step, this setup need to be configured store by store. For now we are testing how this appears in a report before rolling it out across all locations. What is important to remember, so that's it. Actually, what is important to remember, that this checklist can be closed anytime and resumed later. The system saves automatically, so no information is ever lost. As you can see, this very user-friendly tool. It is highly recommended that the shop walk is completed daily by manager or assistant manager. However, the shop walk can also be delegated to senior sales assistant or shift supervisor. Manager can immediately see the results on the dashboard, and area manager also can view results for all stores in real time. Before we move on to the dashboard to see how these results are displayed, let's first look at how to create a new checklist directly from the store level.
As mentioned earlier, you can create store-level checklists that are designed to genuinely support the day-to-day running of the store. You know best what needs to be checked and completed on each department every day, which is why these checklists can be tailored exactly to your needs. If, over time, you feel that additional checklists would be helpful, these can also be set up centrally in the future. Let's now move on to the technical part, how to create a checklist. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the access path. To create a checklist, go to Operations, then Checklists, then Manage Checklists, and click Add Checklist. Next, complete the basic information. Enter a checklist name that clearly explains its purpose. Then select the location, choose the team that should see and complete the checklist, and set the due time, which is the completion deadline. Finally, make sure the checklist is marked as active and click Create. At this point, the checklist is created, and we now have the base, ready to start building the structure. In the next video, we'll quickly create a sample checklist together so you can familiarize yourselves with the process.
Let's quickly build a checklist from scratch and go through the whole process step by step. I'm on the dashboard. From here, let's go to operations, then checklists, and finally select manage checklists. On the right hand side, let's click add checklist. Now let's add the basic information. Let's start with the name. The checklist already exists, so I can easily choose my Daily Manager operational checklist. If you are creating brand new checklist, you would need to type everything in manually. Next, let's set the details, location, be Reading, team, manager, because this checklist is for management team. Due time, let's assume 10 a.m. Let's make sure the active checkbox is selected. Once everything is set, let's click create. Now let's move on to building checklist. First, let's create the structure, meaning the sections, and then I will add individual items to each section. Click add section. Let's create the first section, will be workforce, create. Second section will be cash handling. As you see, that's so easy to follow. So the third one is compliance and due diligence, and the last one operations follow-up. This is how a Daily Manager operational checklist is created. Each section has, as you see, add item. As an example, let's add one item to the workforce section to see how this works in practice. Let's add task name. Will be review and approve. So I have already this point on my list. In a type field, let's leave, because that's already selected task. The different task types are shown on one of the next slides for your reference. Occurrence field, we choose which days the task is scheduled for. By default, all days are selected and shown in blue. If there are any days when the task is not required, we simply deselect those days. It depends on the type of checklist we are creating. For example, in a Daily Manager checklist, tasks needed to be completed every day, so we leave all days of the week selected. If this were a weekly manager operational checklist, the task might only be required once a week. Banking is a good example. In this case, we would select just one specific day depending on how that store operates. So for example, Wednesday. For a banking, let me choose all. In the addition information section, we can add reference, documents, or extra details such as stock management document I've added to our previous list. For this example, we won't add anything, so we can click create. Let me check my notes. We can now see that item has been added. From here, we simply continue adding task to the relevant section in the same way. Once the checklist has been created, including these sections and items, we can easily adjust its structure. We can change our orders of sections by using this button, drag and move, workforce, and we can order task within individual section. We have just one task, so I can change order. However, yeah, there's an option to do that. We can edit or delete a section, or edit or delete a task. As you already notice, you can also click anywhere in this white space next to the section to collapse or expand it. This is particularly useful when a checklist becomes longer, as it helps keeps everything clear, organized, and easy to manage. So we can so yeah, as you see, that's an easy process to create this list. From here, let's go back to operation and manage checklist. For a moment, here you can manage checklist. Here you can see the list we've created. You can also see all available options on that position as well. Edit checklist settings. You can change them, update them from this position. You can delete checklist or clone checklist, which is so helpful. Cloning a checklist is especially helpful for central management. Once cloned, we can edit it and assign to another location without having build everything again from scratch. So for area managers, that's so helpful. Once we create one list, we can just copy and paste, let's say this way. You can see the whole process is very simple and straightforward. All the available options are easy to use, making checklist creation quick and efficient.
As I mentioned earlier in the video about building a checklist, I've added this slide for your reference. This slide shows the different types of checklist items. Each type is used to capture a specific piece of information, depending on what is being checked. Tasks are completed by ticking a checkbox. Photo items require an image to be uploaded. Temperature records and scale records are used to enter numerical values, such as temperatures or weights, which are essential for control and compliance. I also mentioned earlier that I would add this slide. It's a quick legend showing the icons and actions you'll use when editing and managing a checklist. In the next video, you'll see where to find the results of your completed checklists and how to review their completion status.
Let's quickly take a look how we can review checklist report results. We can start going to operations, then checklists. There are two places where we can review reports, overview, that's the main screen, and completion rate. Let's go into review first. Here we can see a checklist completed today. From this main view, we can move between reports, previous and next, allowing us scroll through reports day by day. Once we open View Reports, the previous and next options switch to the weekly view, so we can see results for entire week. From here we can also generate reports in CSV format. Let's go back to checklist overview. The same logic apply to other checklists. We've got another one, Shopwalk checklist. We can scroll through the reports exactly in the same way and review the completion rate. The completion rate view, we can analyze results by location or by checklist. We can also filter and sort the date by location and checklist depending on what we would like to analyze. By default, we see a weekly overview from the last week, but we can select a custom date range, so we can choose whatever we would like to review. Once a date range is selected, we can see a completion rate and statistic for an exact period we are interested in.
This brings us to the end of the checklist training session. As a final technical point, remember that checklist visibility depends on correct team assignment. Once teams are set correctly, checklists will appear automatically for the right employees.